Today's show is brought to you by thelovesickcure.com. Does your love life suck because you can't move on from the idea of him? Does every man you meet pale in comparison to the way he made you feel? It's okay, lady love. We 100% understand and have been there before. Whether you'd like the opportunity to get him back or to completely move on, we know this only happens when you cure your heartbreak and love sickness. Let us help you do that today at thelovesickcure.com.
You are listening to Single Smart Female.
This is Jen,
And Jen.
letting it all hang out for your love life.
Examining your dating experiences and answering your hot topic dating questions.
Just you and us, Jen squared. No topic is off limits and no filters involved.
We are here to help you do dating on your terms.
If you have a question you would like us to answer or would like to immediately upgrade your love life with our collection of classes and exclusive merchandise, meet us over now at singlesmartfemale.com. What's up, my single smart females? It's Jen squared here, your romantic fairy godmama's coming straight at you with a brand new single smart female question. That's right, I've got a question here. All the frickin' way from the where is it? The Gold Coast.
The Gold Coast
of
Australia.
God,
We're terrible.
Yeah.
That accent, but I want to improve.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know you can make Siri talk with an Australian accent?
Yes.
I love it.
But my favorite piece of this entire submission, I love this woman, by the way, but is the name that she gave herself.
Super cute.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say it?
Hold on. I'm gonna make Google play it.
Okay.
It's Miss Enamorada Down Under.
Ah.
So fucking cute. Okay, so I'll plead ignorance here, and I actually had not heard this word, even though I could kind of tell what it meant by, amor,
The structure of it,
the structure of all that kind of stuff. But I looked it up on Google, and it is a person's female lover. But my favorite part, Jen, was it the sentence that Google used for as an example.
Oh my gosh.
Would you like me to read it?
Yes, tell me. I'm scared but excited.
This is the best. His new enamorada, which is a person's female lover, is a 22-year-old mannequin named Jennifer. What the fuck?
Tell me how it's spelled. Jennifer, is it one N or two?
I'm not telling you.
I knew it.
Telling you. But I promise Gen 2 is not a 22-year-old, nor is she a mannequin.
I take offense to the first part.
Suck on it. All right, let's get to the question.
Okay. Miss Enamorada Down Under, how cute are you? Well, super cute. So what she says, well, first, I just want to read this little part where we ask, how did you find us? She wrote, post nasty breakup of a long-term relationship, I was looking for inspiring and helpful advice on how to create the kinds of relationships I wanted rather than allow myself to be dominated by others. Previously described myself as a serial monogamist and decided I wanted to slow down and take it casual, date multiple people slowly, build my girl tribe, etc., to really build myself up again. I was looking for podcasts to listen to, and as I walked a friend's dog, I came across yours, and it was like the universe had spoken to me.
The universe was speaking to you.
You're
It's
right.
not as if that was the universe. We send out those messages all the time.
Yes.
Yep.
Seeing the serial monogamous talked about and Mantourage dating just clicked with me, and I knew I'd found my fairy godmamas.
That's right. That's us.
That's us.
Sweet.
Like little angels. So I binged for a couple of weeks, and now I've gotten busier finishing my PhD. Congratulations, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I still try to listen here and there, and I'm getting ready to do Irresistibility. Needless to say, you ladies are phenomenal.
Couldn't agree more, but thank you.
Right? Thank you so much. Empowering, insightful, honest, and game-changing. And as a side note, Jen, I absolutely adore your hair.
Again, I couldn't agree more. No, you're Miss Inamorata. I freaking love you. Jen, I'm sorry. It's
You know
good
what?
hair.
The truth of the matter is my picture isn't up, so no, it's not about me. But I thought it might be because I do have really great hair. That's one of my favorite features of myself.
Ah, yes. She has great. She has great natural hair. I have a great wig. I fucking love my wig, though.
It is so super cute. Okay, so
Let's do
continuing
this.
on. So here is the for real question. Dear Jens, oh man, there are so many questions I could ask. So many things I want help with. It is so hard to narrow it down. I apologize in advance for the length of this. I'm not sure if you've talked about my question already, so I'm sorry if I just missed it. As I'm preparing myself to step back into the world of dating, this is something that I'm scared about facing, especially with the idea of mantourage dating, which I'm totally terrified and excited to get into, by the way. Like all of your listeners and clients, I'm a catch. It's taking me a while to believe in myself this way and to not let the past traumas put me down, and it is still a process. But it's true. And one of the catches to being a catch, yes, pun intended, is that I have found historically that the guys I date fall for me hard and fast. So I often end up in relationships sooner than I mean to. Side note is that I historically have had a hard time standing up for myself, what I want, and do not have a great history of boundaries, both of which I'm working on. The other common outcome is that I feel overwhelmed and awkward because of the extreme attention, and I've cut off contact, inevitably hurting feelings. So the question is, how do I navigate this side of dating while staying true to myself and not hurting the guys? I will no longer change myself for fear of hurting somebody, or for anybody for that matter, but I don't want to hurt anybody. Is it possible that my history of this is simply because I've been attracting unstable and immature men? I want to be adored and loved and have amazing experiences and interactions, but not at the cost of breaking hearts. So, as for my love life, it's a mess. I'm historically a long-term serial monogamous, 7 years, 2 years, 4.5 years. My last relationship ended up being with a very mentally unstable man-child who was manipulative and good at covering up his instability and twisting it to be my fault. I suspect an attachment or personality disorder on his part. And being the trusting empath that I am, I fell for it. His instability came out in full force after I left him, which has made for a very traumatic and abusive breakup. I'm ready to pick up the pieces and start building myself back up to the amazing woman I know in my heart I am. However, I can also hyper-focus on a man like a cheetah. For example, I like that reference. For example, I had my first kiss post-breakup with somebody I met recently on a weekend getaway. We had great chemistry just talking, and then kissing was amazing. I haven't been kissed that perfectly in like a decade, so it woke so much in me. Naturally, he's from out of the country, so chances we will ever see each other again are slim. But my active imagination still is having a field day with that kiss. But I'm being good, and having only messaged him once, I'm leaving it to him. So diving into mantourage dating couldn't come at a better time. I'm also super busy writing for a thesis for my PhD, so I like the fact that I don't physically have the time to hyper-focus and end up getting serious too quickly.
That was a mouthful.
Girl, I need some water right now.
So I adore you, and we have quite a bit that we can dive in here, but I am going to try to make this more concise and really address some potential stuff here that is going to help significantly with your love life. The first thing I want to tell you, Miss Inamorata Dananda, is that I think it's okay to actually for you to take a break from dating right now while you finish your PhD, which sounds like it won't be too terribly long. According to what you've told us about coming out of a really messy, ugly relationship, you do need to go ahead and get that. What kind of did they call it a protective order there?
I'm not sure in Australia.
Well, she wrote it.
Oh, she did?
Yes, and you said it.
Stop it. Stop it, Jan.
I'm not lying.
I believe you.
Okay. Here is... I can't find it. Anyways, in the book that she wrote, I'm unable to find it.
I want to make a bet.
Okay. Protective order. Yes, I think you should go ahead and get that. If there's any abuse involved, ladies, I want to encourage you, regardless of our contribution to how things are set up and how I talk about how we set men up to win or lose with us, things like that. If it ever gets to the point of any physical abuse, that point, it's game over. As an adored woman, that's where you stop, game over. Even with verbal abuse, you stop too. But once you definitely hit physical abuse, you go get protective orders, restraining orders in the United States, whatever country you're in, whatever that's called. You make that shit happen right away. Okay? There's no second chance here. If you have told him, I do not want to see you anymore, and he keeps following up on that and it feels physically threatening to you, you get that shit taken care of. You let everybody know what's going on. And of course, I'm not an expert in protective orders or anything else like that, but you go do what you need to do with the right authorities and get yourself protected right away.
Amen. You sing a song I like to sing, which is called Bye-Bye.
What?
Get away from them.
Oh.
Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that's one we need to make into a GIF.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so second thing I want to address here, we're going to go through the nasty stuff first, okay? So this word empath, well, I do definitely believe you're an empath, is used quite a bit in terms of empaths attracting narcissists, people with personality disorders, things like that. I want to set the record straight here about empaths. First off, I am an empath, okay? I don't like to talk about it because, to be honest, in reference to dating, it's not as big of a deal as we make it out to be, all right? Women across the board, empath, non-empath, psychic, non-psychic, all the different categories we put ourselves into, we all make the same shitty ass mistakes when it comes to men. We have poor boundaries, we haven't been taught boundaries, or we have boundaries up way too high where they're not actually boundaries, they're just walls. We all have some version of that before we start stepping into this world of being an adored woman. Why? Because we're conditioned really fucking poorly in reference to men. Bottom line, doesn't matter what kind of woman you are. Yes, you might be even more susceptible, but I can guarantee you it's based on what you have seen in life, experienced in life, things like that. It's not necessarily this category that you're in. It is more of a nurture experience, and you have been taught this, that this is the way to show up with men. That's it. So I want us to start to step away, just like I don't like when we stereotype men. I don't want us to stereotype ourselves in reference to men either. The very few stereotypes I'll use are, the categorizing serial monogamous, a person who dates down, all those, that's it. And I don't even use those all too often because everything intermingles too. There isn't always a clear cut anything. And so staying in those categories isn't really doing anything for our love lives. You can be an empath, but you can also be, like me, an empath with fucking impeccable boundaries. Now, I didn't used to have them, but it wasn't because I was an empath. It had nothing to do with me being an empath. It was because I had poor boundaries and I had really bad examples, and I was very, very fucking insecure.
And you didn't know how to honor yourself and pay attention to your needs and desires.
Okay. So that's all the nasty part. We got that out of the way.
Well, I have nastiness. No, I don't.
Oh, you're such a
lover, not a fighter.
Okay. All the nastiness aside, I want to talk about the good stuff here. First off, the fact that you say that you are a catch, it warms my heart to infinite degrees. It means everything. Every woman in her own way is an extreme catch. And I won't argue with women about that, but I don't care what you tell me. You can lay out the biggest case for why you're not, and I still don't fucking believe you. I'm not going to argue with you about it because I don't have time for that shit.
That is super counterproductive too if you're going to argue for your non-worth.
Yeah. The phrase goes, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Yeah.
That's yours. That's the experience you get to live if you're going to argue with it. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue for you on that, against you on that. I'm not going to argue anything about that. I don't have time for that shit. And that's not what she was doing here anyways, but I want to make that clear to all other women. So there's no reason in the fucking world for you to anchor into that, regardless of your past experiences. I went from shit with men. Like, my men, one time I had experience and guys were calling me fucking fat cow. I had men treat me poorly, and I had some guys treat me really nicely too. And I never even thought about those good things because I decided that my experience was I was the girl that was always treated like shit. And overnight, that shit flipped.
Yeah.
Because I decided I was a catch.
Yeah. I was so excited to see her say that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for putting that out there. Okay. But now we're going to go into the worrying about men and their stuff. Okay. So I know you can make the case for being an empath, having to worry about how men feel about things. Jen, do you want to tell my empath story?
Oh, about how you wanted me to get a house? How you were like pushing me to buy a home?
Yes.
Because
she kept getting kicked out of places.
Yeah, she didn't want me to have, what was it?
Because it fucking hurt. Like I was gutted every time she lost a place that she really loved.
Yeah, I live in a place where people lose their houses a lot because the real estate market here is crazy. So it's not an uncommon thing at all to get a notice on your door. You need to move out in 60 days.
And I finally confessed to her the reason why I told her to do that in the first place is because I couldn't take it anymore because it was hurting so much.
Yes.
I felt gutted every time you told me.
You should have told me that when it was happening.
I just wanted you to do it. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to fucking feel it.
I can't handle it. That's so funny.
But I will tell you this as one empath to empath, even though I really don't want us using this too much. With practice, once you start dating, once you start enjoying this, you can anchor yourself into pieces of this that your feelings, meaning anything you feel from men being hurt, I can't promise you that no man is going to be hurt. I just can't. Okay. Everybody takes things differently, and some people are. I will tell you that more men than not are going to be perfectly fine with it, depending on how you set it up in man-entourage dating. And if you keep good boundaries and then the way you acknowledge yourself and you acknowledge him, that's one of the things that I specialize in, are good boundaries and communicating those things with men. That's what I help clients do, especially in the secret society of adored women. But I can't promise you 100% for sure that no man's feelings will be hurt. You have all different types of men out there. You have men who have been raised to think that it's only their feelings that matter. That's conditioning. And then you have men who they're misogynistic. Also can have a definite conditioning there, or they've been really hurt by women in the past. They're not your emotional responsibility. And that, regardless if you're an empath, you're not, whatever, as a woman, we have to start understanding that other people's feelings are not our responsibilities when, we treat them well and in integrity. And see, in this world of being an adored woman, we're redefining what that actually means, what that actually looks like. Because for so long, we have been fearful of men's reactions to everything. That's what it boils down to. It's not really the concern about hurting feelings. It's the fear of being afraid of men in general and their reactions to stuff. And obviously so, because you have this recent fucking experience with a mentally not so stable guy. I don't even recommend you going into Irresistibility. I actually recommend you doing the Secret Society of Adored Women with us. You do Irresistibility in the context of that, but you need to be around women who can hold you accountable in certain pieces like that so that you don't slip into some of those same patterns from before. So when you start going down the road of not holding your boundaries around men, because that's how we let in mentally unstable guys. It's not because they're necessarily, most of them are not great enough, not good enough at hiding their true selves with an adored woman, because it's going to press all their buttons. The fact that she's man-entourage dating, the fact that she has really high self-esteem and she values herself above all, those press this type of man's buttons significantly. And they end up showing their hand way before. Problem with what happens, and a lot of times we get to this place with these other men, there's nothing to fault yourself for. It's just this shit we're not really taught. But because we don't hold those boundaries in the first place, then, and we go back and forth with them in different ways, and we become responsible for all their feelings as if we're actually doing something to them, then these guys get into our lives and they encompass our lives. Then they start to take over, and we are too nervous about standing up to them. It's all fear-based. It's 100% fear-based. And it's not my favorite thing to talk about, especially publicly. I'd rather talk about this anytime in a private setting so that we can unwind it more. but it's not something that you have to keep doing as a woman. You don't have to keep repeating those same patterns. Mantourage dating is one of the perfect, it's not a foolproof method for avoiding this, but it is the most effective way to avoid getting into a relationship with this type of man again.
And Jen, I just have to interject here.
Please do.
I have experienced where it's overwhelming and you have too much interaction, too many people coming at you, and it's overwhelming. And I had to realize I am not responsible for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for my job to make sure that those guys are okay, that are showing me attention. Especially with online dating, you might get an abundance of messages in a day. His self-worth isn't based upon my reaction. And I don't have to be responsible for that. You know, then the problem was I didn't know how to handle that much male attention at that time. And now I realize that by me choosing to honor my wishes, my desires, what I want.
And learning actually how to handle it, because that's one of the things we do in the Secret Society of Adored Women is learn how to manage male attention. That's really important, because when you don't know how to do that, it makes this process of mantourage dating extraordinarily uncomfortable.
Agreed. Absolutely. And so when you're honoring yourself and when you're honoring your wishes, you're standing in integrity. And that guy, you tell him, you know, hey, I don't think that this is working out. You're actually giving him an opportunity, and you need to look at it like that. You're giving him an opportunity to meet someone who is much better suited for him. And it's not that you're hurting him. Now, he can choose to react that way, but this is actually an opportunity for something better for him in his life. And Jen, I know I've heard you say in the past that guys have actually thanked you for the opportunity to spend time with you when you had told them in the past that when you were dating them, that it wasn't going to work out, or that they thanked you for it.
Yes, I've had several clients that happens with too. So the way that I help women disengage from men, as well as all the other factors of the time that they spent together, it still happens that some men get upset or get hurt. But more often than not, even though they don't like the fact that they don't get to date you and they're a little sad about it, they're very thankful and they're very appreciative. And I've had, specifically in my case, many of the men that I dated that I ended up not dating, almost within a month or two after dating me, they ended up meeting the love of their lives. And I know in my heart that that's a direct result of being able to spend time with an adored woman who really, truly enjoyed their company and appreciated them, which is something that most men don't get from women. They get a whole side of women that just ends up in chaos and all kinds of other shit, and they feel like they can't do anything right, no matter how hard they try. And by the way, Miss Enamorada Down Under, this isn't just you. This a lot of women are really scared of this. We're scared of their crappy reactions. We're scared of their emotional reactions. We're scared of the potential of them being verbally abusive, physically abusive. There's so much crap behind all of this. And I would love to tell you that as soon as you start mantourage dating, that all those fears are just going to disappear. I know they will as you start to move through this. And if you let us help you do this, it's going to go even faster, because you're going to have a complete support system with that. But it doesn't go until you actually start doing it. It's not something that just disappears one day. It's something that women have been dealing with generations. And the only way we start to move through this fear and we start to see real change across society is if, as adored women, we start standing up and saying, this is what I want. Yes, I do have some fear around this, but I'm going to keep standing up for what I want, and I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to explore my romantic potential, my romantic options, my romantic desires even, and stop focusing on what men want, what men need, what men blah, 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 fucking poke my eyes out, blah, 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 and honor ourselves and honor what we want and unwind everything that we know secretly we can have. And you know how I know all of you ladies know that this is possible? Because you wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be listening and taking this if there wasn't a part of you that didn't know that I'm speaking fucking truth to you.
Amen.
Okay, lover girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show.
Your first romantic responsibility is to your feelings. Your second is to let him be responsible for his.
Today's show is brought to you by thelovesickcure.com. Does your love life suck because you can't move on from the idea of him? Does every man you meet pale in comparison to the way he made you feel? It's okay, lady love. We 100% understand and have been there before. Whether you'd like the opportunity to get him back or to completely move on, we know this only happens when you cure your heartbreak and love sickness. Let us help you do that today at thelovesickcure.com. Hey, Lover Girl, this is Jen again. Don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast app, as well as share Single Smart Female with all of your single smart girlfriends. And if you would like to play around and learn more about Mantourage dating, come see me at singlesmartfemale.com. Talk to you next time.